Most people spend their entire lives chasing money. They jump from job to job, add side hustles, stretch themselves thin, and still feel like they're barely keeping up. But what if the secret wasn't in chasing money, but in making it chase you? That's exactly what Henry Ford figured out over a century ago. At CashCore, we don't just share facts, we break down the blueprints of the world's greatest wealth builders so you can follow in their footsteps. And Henry Ford didn't just build a car, he built an empire that changed the world. Ford was born in 1863 in a farmhouse in Michigan. His upbringing was modest, and like most boys at the time, he was expected to take over the family farm. But at age 12, everything changed. He saw a steam engine up close for the first time and instantly knew his life would follow a different track. He didn't want to ride it, he wanted to build it. That one vision never left him. It wasn't long before Ford found himself dismantling watches, fixing engines, and studying machines with an obsession that no school could have taught him. By 1903, Ford had launched the Ford Motor Company. At the time, cars were luxury items, built by hand, expensive, and reserved for the elite. But Ford had a different dream. He wanted every American to own a car, not just the rich, everyone. To make that happen, he had to radically change the way cars were made. In 1913, he introduced the world's first moving assembly line. This reduced the time it took to build a car from over 12 hours to just 93 minutes. And that's how the Model T went from $850 to just $260. It was a revolution, and it worked. Ford didn't just create a car, he created a system that could scale. But what made him truly dangerous to the status quo was that he wasn't driven purely by profit. In 1914, he shocked Wall Street by raising his workers' wages to $5 a day, more than double the industry average. Critics laughed. Economists predicted bankruptcy. But Ford knew something they didn't. A well-paid worker becomes a loyal worker, and more importantly, a potential customer. Turnover dropped, production exploded, and suddenly, the very workers who built the cars could afford to drive them. It wasn't charity. It was smart economics. Ford's success didn't come from luck. It came from principles. He believed deeply that most people underestimate what they're capable of. He once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." To him, belief shaped reality. If you believed something was impossible, it was. If you believed it could be done, you'd find a way. That kind of mindset is now taught in modern psychology as the foundation of growth. Ford didn't need a PhD to figure it out. He lived it. At his factories, Ford didn't care about credentials. Everyone started from the bottom, no matter their background. There were no shortcuts, no special treatment, no backdoors into management. If you wanted to move up, you had to earn it. He created a clear ladder. New workers trained on simple tasks, intermediate workers gained experience, and advanced workers became foremen, site managers, and eventually department heads. But Ford noticed something strange. Only about 25% of workers actually wanted to move up. Most were comfortable doing repetitive tasks for decent pay. Ambition, he realized, was rarer than talent. And that's what separated leaders from followers. Ford valued effort and consistency far more than intelligence. He believed in systems over stars. That's why he focused obsessively on making every part of the process more efficient. He famously studied the way workers moved, how many steps they took, how they bent over, how long it took to pick up a tool. He then redesigned factory layouts to save seconds. Seconds multiplied across thousands of workers turned into hours. Hours turned into days. And that saved time turned into profit. Ford understood something most CEOs still miss. Efficiency compounds. Even in the face of competition, Ford took the high road. When a group of automakers tried to sue him out of business over a vague patent, he didn't respond with aggression. Instead, he took out a full-page ad promising to cover all legal fees for any customer sued over the issue. Only 50 people ever filed claims, but his sales doubled. He won the court battle, made headlines nationwide, and forced a change in patent law. Ford didn't attack his enemies. He outperformed them and trusted the public to notice. Inside his factories, he eliminated unnecessary bureaucracy. He hated paperwork, meaningless titles, and rigid corporate structures. If a worker had a complaint or idea, they were encouraged to speak directly to the relevant manager. No delays, no red tape. He believed in solving problems at the source, not drowning them in memos. Ford also rejected the modern idea of workplace socializing. The factory wasn't a living room, it was a mission. You came in, did your job, took your breaks, and went home. That focus-first environment made Ford Motor Company one of the most productive organizations of the 20th century. Ford's approach to automation was far ahead of its time. While others feared machines replacing humans, Ford saw the future. To him, machines weren't enemies, they were tools. If a machine could do something better than a human, it should. Not to eliminate jobs, but to let people focus on higher value work. That mindset now fuels giants like Amazon, Tesla, and even logistics companies like UPS. Ford wasn't scared of the future, he engineered it. He also believed in serving the customer first. A business devoted to service will have only one concern: how to handle all the money it makes, he once said. Ford understood that real wealth doesn't come from manipulating people. It comes from solving problems they truly care about. That's why the Model T succeeded, not because it was flashy, but because it was useful, reliable, affordable. Service-first thinking built Ford's empire, and it still builds companies today. He also rejected the idea of extreme frugality. Ford believed that teaching your children how to spend money wisely was more important than teaching them how to save it. Why? Because saving without purpose leads to fear-based decisions. But spending with intention, on learning, tools, and experiences, creates value. He encouraged young people to invest in themselves. Skills first, savings later. Because once you become valuable, money will never be far behind. Ford's obsession with measurement and improvement eventually shaped industries worldwide. His strategies formed the foundation of what would later become the Toyota production system, which then inspired modern concepts like lean startup, agile development, and Six Sigma. Even hospitals and military supply chains use Ford-inspired systems today. But perhaps Ford's most powerful idea was this: break big problems into small ones. He believed that nothing was truly hard. It only looked hard because we viewed it as one giant obstacle. But take it step by step, and anything can be solved. Climb the mountain one step at a time. Build the car one part at a time. Improve the factory one process at a time. That mindset created an unstoppable momentum. Ford didn't just work harder than most people. He thought deeper. He understood that real thinking, quiet, focused thinking, was the secret to progress. That's why he said, "Thinking is the hardest work there is," which is probably the reason so few engage in it. In a world full of distractions, Ford made time to think, not just react. That made all the difference. So what can you take away from this? Don't chase money. Create systems that serve people. Don't look for shortcuts. Improve what you already do. Don't fear failure. Learn from it. Don't rely on motivation. Build structure. Don't hope for opportunity. Create it. Henry Ford didn't just build cars. He built a movement, and every dollar he earned was a side effect of solving real problems, at scale, with discipline. At CashCore, we believe stories like Ford's aren't just inspiring, they're instructional. They're proof that you don't need to be born into money to build it. You need vision, focus, a plan, and a relentless commitment to service. If this breakdown brought you value, tap the like button, share it with a friend who's building something of their own, and subscribe to CashCore, where we turn history's boldest minds into tomorrow's money moves. Because real wealth isn't just about income, it's about impact. And the systems you build today could be the legacy that changes your tomorrow.